Cody, I gotta ask you something.
Sure.
Do you want to build a snowman after watching this movie?
I mean, the snowman in itself looked kind of cool in the movie, but I mean, no. I mean, lacking the dead bodies maybe, but
I don't know. There's not. You could probably build a snowman. There's a little bit of snow out right now.
yeah, this is surprisingly one of the most tamest winters I think I've had in my entire life living in
Yeah,
Saskatchewan,
it's
so
you're
something
getting.
else.
It's one of those years where you're getting the global warming vibes.
Yeah, but that's fake,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Around here, that's what you get. I've just started saying it because every time they do it in the other direction, right? That it just
hmm Well, right now everybody's all up in arms because they're taxing everybody according to climate change, right? Which is what they're supposed to be doing. Which is kind of ironic because, like, I think Scott Moe, for people who don't know, and I don't want to get into a whole like side rant about this guy because he seems to be a bit of a uh, dick, to put it bluntly. But yeah, like he's all up in arms about against the global warming. But like the other day, he's like, "We're going to use the funds directly connected from the taxes to fund our nuclear power." So like they were supposed to be doing this whole time. So I'm glad that he finally caught on to the importance of the taxation that we're currently collecting right now. But
no. I think currently there's some hubbub in Ottawa about them like not wanting to like they're doing a whole like they're trying to force a non-confidence thing over the carbon tax on home heating.
oh yeah, definitely.
And
I'm
yeah.
probably butchering this guy's name because I can't actually physically like. I've only ever read it. I've never heard it being said.
Oh,
So the current
Pierre Polyev.
yeah, that's it. There we go. I don't know how I feel about him. I'm really concerned that his campaign slogan is going to be along the lines of like "Make Canada Great Again" or some whacked up shit like that. Like, and I mean everywhere's doing it right now. Alberta tried to pass a new legislation that basically says that they can bypass like federal uh, taxation via the Alberta Sovereignty Act, which something the newest conservative lady that just came into power.
Neil
She's the one that
Neil
really,
Smith, I think.
yeah, that was really pushing it, which is kind of funny to me because, like, in my opinion, like like Alberta just did a complete 180 because they went from NDP into a conservative um
I
like
mean,
power.
they were NDP for like 5 minutes. Like,
Oh yeah,
no, that was they were NDP for like I think I think they had a full 4 years. I think they
yeah.
were majority for like, but it was literally like literally 30 years of conservative, and then went to NDP for one because the premier before that NDP term had like wasted a bunch of money or like siphoned a bunch of money away from other stuff to like remodel a bunch of offices, something to that effect, and it pissed everyone off. And then everyone's like, "Oh, we'll vote NDP in protest," and then the NDP ended up winning.
hmm
Uh, so yeah, and then they instantly just like it was never going to last.
Well,
I don't think
Manitoba
it's just that. Yeah.
just switched over to orange, so I'm really hoping to see like them like
Yeah.
really do good in Manitoba, so that people in Saskatchewan can at least be like, well, we can see that they're doing good over there. We should vote NDP instead of conservative, like they have for the last I don't know 10 years at least.
Yeah. I think it's 20ish because I think it was I think late like I think just barely new millennium was NDP.
hmm which is like really funny to sit there and watch people try and compare like the NDP from now. Because there was what's his face? Lavier? uh the last
Uh,
NDP guy that ran, he basically shut down a whole bunch of hospitals, and all the conservative get real up in arms about the hospitals that this NDP guy shut down, and then doesn't bring up the fact that the SAS party hasn't reopened those like 20 hospitals that they closed down
yeah,
in 20 years that they've been
and
or like
it's the same thing with the schools thing. They do the same point about schools, and like a lot of them were just like really rural locations. Which I'm not saying to like there's a point to be made there, but I don't know.
yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
funny to watch, and I really
yeah,
dislike talking about Canadian politics as much as I like talking about American politics, because American politics
yeah.
are just like whacked up shit. Uh, like if you're paying attention to American politics, one of the last things that they voted on is that their Supreme Court should be like held up to the same standards as like the lower courts. So basically, the Supreme Courts have been like taking bribes this whole time, and like
Oh yeah,
they're the highest courts in the land, and maybe they shouldn't be taking bribes, but uh,
I it's even like I think like Clarence Thomas's wife was it like January 6th?
yeah,
Is that the
yeah,
one that's yeah,
yeah,
that's the guy I'm thinking of, right? Yeah.
yeah, he if you don't know who Clarence Thompson is, he's a Supreme Court justice whose wife was a part of the January 6th, right?
Yeah.
Like insurrection is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I was thinking resurrection, but that might give people the wrong idea about what this
No,
podcast is
different thing.
supposed to be about.
Yeah. Bush appointee, I think. One of the Bush appointees.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
I don't
mean, I don't know. I feel like
yeah.
there should be term limits on Supreme Court justices, but that's just me, and
Oh
maybe
yeah,
I'm
no.
way too radical.
There's no I like that's I mean that's not a radical thing. It's just like you gotta it involves people giving up power, which is always a bit of a anyway, let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about this let's go from the
It's
train wreck to the decades long string of serial killings.
yeah, I don't know. Actually, like yeah, it's fairly close.
Or decade long. It's single decade, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because they have the flashback they have is 7 years prior. So yeah, single decade. I'm not sure about the death count on this movie. I kind of lost track. It just seems like yeah, because there's a lot of like there's a lot of like I think there's like a good like 4 murders in quick succession, especially in like the plot of the movie. So I had a little bit of trouble keeping track of them because it seemed
Oh,
like it's just some people. Yeah,
I have a drink and I keep on muting myself so that I can drink so Kyle doesn't
yeah.
like text me in a week and complain about it that I'm drinking in post. But
I I've
um
done that literally twice. I could be doing that a lot more. You'd be surprised how much restraint I show. I think
oh, and you'd be surprised how much stuff I've actually been sitting here just screaming into my microphone while I'm on mute. So I think there's a fair trade-off there. I was saying, yeah, a lot of this stuff is done in flashbacks too. So, like an actual pure kill count is quite hard to get, considering I think it was like this is where my thought process going. This guy's is what like the murders are defined as a serial murder, but like how far along do you have to kill people before you're counted as a serial murder?
I think it's 3.
Okay, but like so if I murder a family of 4, but they're my family, is that really like a serial murder, like serial
No,
killer,
no,
like
no. Sorry, let me rephrase
like
that. It has to be like 3 incidents.
okay,
Like three
so it
incidents
can't
is a
be all at
serial
once.
killing.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's just like a single like mass killing. That's
Mhm.
I mean that's for that's more of like a court room distinction more than like anything that's actually like morally or
Yeah, I
philosophically
guess fair
relevant.
enough.
It's just yeah. No, like that's yeah, because I mean, serial killing has probably like when you get into the courtrooms, a serial killer has like different difficulties because like you're dealing with a bunch of different incidents. I know there's
Mhm.
like true crime people will know this way better than I will, but like you read a lot of these like true crime stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, they ended up pinning like 3 of the murders on the guy, and they suspect at least so many more, or they go like they charge him on the murder counts until they get like a life in prison or a death penalty, and like or until the DA decides, yeah, we got him enough.
Mhm.
Whereas like a mass killing would be like you just have a single incident going on or a single court case. Whereas like a serial killing would be like you'd have a different trial for each uh incident.
Yeah,
I
fair
think
enough.
could be wrong though.
Yeah. We could have been a true
Um,
crime podcast, but no.
what?
How do you,
Why do you,
I should probably just throw this out there while we're sitting here talking. Like, how are like true podcasters right now? Like, are they okay? Like, are they mentally
Ah,
like okay?
I feel like
I just want to check up and make sure.
I feel like I don't know. It's a demographic, and some of them do like legitimately good work. I think there's also like a bunch of controversy of like, oh, is this like
Sensationalizing.
exploitative? Yeah, yeah, some of that, and
Fair enough. Yeah.
just and also like obviously there's like ones where like the person did a shit ton of research and they like got somebody off or like found a killer or something because they were able
Mhm.
to put something together that the police couldn't or wouldn't or whatever. But yeah, like there's also yeah, I think there's you take the good with the bad to a lot of extent. It's not for everybody.
I watched yeah, okay, just while we're sitting here talking about this, I watched an exposition done by John Oliver in Last Week Tonight um today, and it was about train derailments and how bad they are, and how the train company is currently pushing like for profit and ignoring safety in a lot of the issues right now, is that they're trying to maximize the profits of the train industry. Um, and then also, I was listening to a podcast earlier. Canadian politics is boring. If you like Canadian politics, there's a really good podcast there for you. And they were talking about how the U.S. in like early Canadian history, like during the Cold War, accidentally gassed Winnipeg. So yeah, just like
I mean that might.
straight
I wonder if
incompetence.
that. I wonder if that has anything to do with. I was watching like a Behind the Bastards update on like Alex Jones, and apparently like early in COVID, Alex Jones was on like a the virus was created in Winnipeg stint for a minute. I wonder if that those two
Oh,
things are connected.
I have no clue, and I kind of stopped paying attention to Alex Jones. He kind of fell off my radar after he was like found guilty in his libel case for perpetuating the idea that the Sandy Hook massacre was like stage actors and like
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean it's slander because it's spoken word, but yeah, I mean, and I mean he's still around. He's just getting like charged shit tons of money. I mean, it won't really end till he's like literally in jail or dead. Which I don't know.
well,
Could be any dead. Could
I'm
be any
I'm
day
just
now. He's
I'm just of the idea that we should stop start deplatforming people who have like these radical views, but then people are all up in arms about like free speech and how uh I believe in free speech with consequences, and one consequences is you shouldn't be allowed to have a platform if you're just going to sprout absolute nonsense that is actively hurting people who went through a massive tragedy. So,
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Alex Jones is like, first of all, he's like mostly doing it on his own website. Like, he's not
mhm,
on YouTube or other stuff.
anymore.
I think maybe Musk is letting him back anymore. But I think maybe Musk is letting him back on his thing. But he mostly does his own website,
Well, I mean, Musk has his own weird views on free speech in itself that we don't really need to talk about, but yeah,
which is
he
why
bought
he's
Twitter.
back on Twitter.
Well, same with what's his face, Carlson.
Oh yeah, Tucker. Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he's but yeah, Alex Jones is like he's the problem with him. The problem dealing with him is like he's mostly doing it on his own equipment and his own website, and is doing it to a large degree on his own like little world. Like, and you do actually kind of need to go after him on a legal level, which has, I mean, obviously, the Sandy Hook guys managed to get like, honestly, the Sandy Hook people are like tremendously lucky. Like, I think if Alex Jones, legitimately, I think if Jones was 10% smarter, the Sandy Hook people would be out of luck.
Hmm.
Like, there's so much stupid shit Alex Jones has done that's just like handed them that win. So I mean, yeah, it's one of those things. There, like it's more of his incompetence in that regard than anything else. And maybe like the Sandy Hook stuff will lead into other stuff. I think that's actually to some degree happening, but I mean, this stuff takes years.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting distracted very easily.
It's one of those days.
Yeah, no, it's one of those days. I don't, oh yeah, the Snowman. We're reviewing the Snowman, a 2017 murder mystery story based on a novel by, I don't have the Wikipedia up, or like so I can, or I don't have that notes up. Um,
It's
bring that up.
Norwegian, I think, is it not?
I mean, the movie takes place in Norway. I don't know that I the guy's name looked Norwegian, but I don't know.
Based on the Snowman by Joe Nesbo. 2007 novel of the same name. Yep, by Norwegian crime writer Joe Nesbo.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And it's the
yeah.
seventh entry in his book career on Terry Hole.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's a bunch of Harry Hole novels that we could get.
He first appeared in a movie called a book called The Bat in 1997. Norwegian's is a real hard language to translate. So, um, so he was it in The Bat, Cockroaches, Red Beast, Nemesis, The Devil's Star, The Redeemer, The Snowman, The Leopard, The Phantom, Police. Yeah, there's more than seven, is what I'm
So
trying to get at.
the entire thing they do at the beginning of the movie, where they show the flashback of the kid who we find out is the killer, like doing they do the begin movie starts with a flashback where this kid who we is eventually going to be the serial killer, and then they like end this flashback starring this kid, and then it's to go to Harry Hole, like kind of like psyching out the viewer, and like think it makes the viewer think like, oh, maybe this Harry Hole guy's the killer, because you never hear the name of the kid in the flashback sequence. That really doesn't work in the novel, does it?
I'm assuming not.
Yeah. Okay. So you have any knowledge of the books that
Yeah.
that's just that that plot like that red herring doesn't function at all.
I don't know.
Huh.
Maybe we have a weirdly large, like Norwegian-based audience that I'm unaware of. So hopefully, I
I don't
haven't
think so.
ostracized the whole entire country of Norway before. Maybe these are very popular. Is all I'm trying to get at. Maybe
Oh
this
yeah,
guy's
no,
the
and that's
new.
kind of my point. If these are very popular, this is going to that's going to ruin that little red herring that I got from that. But yeah,
Mhm.
because this movie does not do a nice mystery and like it. Yeah, I think that's a factor of the film that doesn't quite work. If you, it's weird they tried it almost
Which
because
is
yeah,
weird.
having those yeah.
Weird because I'm also like one of those people that like are like really hard stuck when you hear that it's a murder mystery. I start trying to like piece it together way before like any big reveal happens. And my first thought process was the killer is definitely the bug extermination guy in the beginning of the movie. That was my guess going into like my all-star guess going into the movie because I thought maybe he like found something at the Harry Cole's house and was like, I'm gonna kidnap this guy's family and start murdering all his friends, but that definitely wasn't the case by the end of it. So if you guys haven't seen it, I'm sorry to spoil it earlier. It's not the bug exterminator guy. So
To be fair, the killer does pretend to be the bug exterminator briefly.
does he?
Yeah, during a later scene when Harry goes back to his apartment, and the guy, well, he's not an exterminator, he's a sprayer for mold, so anti-mold
Okay,
guy.
yeah.
But anyway, so Harry comes home and sees the sprayer like dancing to music while he's in his empty house or apartment rather, and Harry sort of chases him out, and then he walks out of the house and walks straight past the exterminator, revealing that yeah,
Okay,
that
so
was actually
I
yeah.
I 100% miss that.
Yeah, I
So
mean, well, we don't. That's the only scene where we see the exterminator out of the outfit.
I'm taking 100% credit for this. I fucking knew it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No.
I think he was only doing it in that one instance, but yeah. So this is yeah, 2017 film. It didn't really make its money. $43 million gross off $35 million. They would have needed 70 million to break even. So yeah, they didn't quite make this, even though they were. I do remember them advertising it quite a bit, but no, it didn't quite take off. Yeah, starring Michael Fassbender and Rebecca Ferguson, directed by Thomas Alfredson. The screenplay is written by Peter Strawn and Jose Nemini. Thomas Alfredson is a Swedish guy. He directed Let the Right One In and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Tinker Tailor Soldier Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Oh, that is a very Swedish looking dude.
I don't know how to even respond to that. Do Swedish people have like a very specific look that I'm unaware of?
Blonde. I mean, they're the guys that Nazis wish they were. To be fair, like
Okay,
blonde
fair
hair,
enough.
blue eyes. Yeah, no, they live up to that way better than a lot of Germans. So
Huh. I didn't
yeah,
realize that
no,
Michael Fassbender was a professional race car driver.
huh? I didn't know that either. I only really know him because he was Magneto.
Oh yeah, I guess he was. I was trying to figure out like a film to like kind of like
Yeah,
connect with. And I mean,
Yeah, he was Magneto. He played a guy he was the main guy in that Assassin's Creed movie they did
mhm,
that I never saw. I have no idea what
I
happened.
also never saw. He's in Jonah
Um,
Hex.
oh yeah. Um, I think I've heard him called box office poison actually.
Oh, that's weird. For what? Oh, he was Steve Jobs and Steve Jobs.
I don't know. He's just I think apparently a lot I mean that the person that said that isn't necessarily I heard that from Grace Randolph on YouTube, and she's not necessarily reliable in that regard. Yeah,
Mhm.
she's occasionally just full of it, but I mean, he has had a few good movies that have just like not done very well.
Where are we here?
Oh yeah, we haven't really started anything yet.
Nope.
Yeah, no. Okay, we're gonna get into this. We're way far in. I mean, we'll cut some stuff out, but anyway. Okay, the movie opens to boy and his mother in like the ass end of Norway, presumably. Weird, just tucked in like a hillside, buried in snow, next to a frozen lake. And he's watching out the window and he sees this guy show up with groceries. He's a police officer and he comes in to tutor him, check some tests on the boy. And he's trying to asking him some very specific date questions, which he's writing down, which he's like asking like when did the king of Norway return after World War II? Day and month and year, please. Which, yeah, that's difficult to remember at the best of times. And by the way, this kid grows up to have like a decent career and everything, so realistically he's doing fine. And he's not a
Mhm.
historian either. Like, and frankly, speaking as a guy with like a degree in history, I can't do that at the best of times.
As good. I was about to ask you the exact same question, and I feel like you wouldn't have had an answer for me. So
I mean, like even for stuff I'd be more in expertise of because I'm not like a Norwegian history expert.
fair
I
enough.
only vaguely know bits. I guess my grandfather's of Norwegian descent, but like
Mhm.
my maternal grandfather. No, yeah, no, it's also I think in school, like on tests particularly, as long as you got within 10 years, they would like give you a half point usually, depending on how badly you fucked it up. But
Yeah, that's fair.
especially also depends on the class,
Mhm.
or like the context. But like very compressed stuff like World War II, you might be a little bit less found, but that was generally the meaning of the rules on like larger spans of history classes, which is most history classes. There's only a few you really get where, especially like on undergrad level, where like you're dealing with like a period of like 4 years or whatever. um
Mhm.
it's certainly not at like this kid's level. Yeah, no, I think it's actually sort of unreasonable to like name and date random events. But yeah, he's so the kid's having a bit of trouble naming these time years, and when he gets the answers wrong, he hits the mother. So yeah, that's this is a pretty bad situation. The police officer is evidently the boy's mother, the boy's father. This is as a result of a affair, which is why he's bringing all these stuff out to her. And the boy is shooed away to go play outside for a little bit while his mother and father have some time together. And this is where we see the first instance of the iconic Snowman main knees, which is a two ball snowman with a coffee bean face and just like a sort of a straight mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly different from like the classic idea of what like a snowman looks like. But after the parents have slept together, the mother says that she's going to tell tell the policeman's wife about that the boy is his son, and then the wife can tell everyone else and whatnot, and this is going to be out in the open. The man leaves, and the boy and the mom go to chase after him. And they start driving on this thing. The police officer drives a lot faster and gets away, clearly like running away, and the mom drives drives off the road onto the frozen lake intentionally, and just lets the car sit there until the car breaks through the ice, which I'm surprised the ice is this thin in this time of year. Real like Canadian thought, I know, but like, yeah, no, the ice should be thicker. It seems like there's a lot, like a thick snow color covering. Maybe it's just like early in winter or something, but it seems like yeah, it just seems like the ice should be probably thick enough to support a car that size. And it probably is realistically because they're filming on it.
Yeah, that would be really bad if they were not
Yeah.
like following
Yeah.
safety precautions of
Yeah.
being on ice.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna assume the film crew is doing their due diligence here and move on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the ice is like real fragile in this entire movie. I think they come back to this lake at the end of the movie, and it's just very conveniently thin. So yeah, so that's a thing, and then we come back to the end of the movie. We cut to our hero. It's like God knows how many years later, doing as all great detectives do. If we find our hero, as we find all great detectives, passed out after a night of drinking in like a shed.
Yeah, but you got to understand this. There was seven books of backstory before we actually knew who this character was. So he could have seen some shit in the last 7 books. He might have earned this, Kyle. Let him have it.
Yeah, no, I mean he clearly has a problem, but I also just this is also I had assumed at the beginning of the movie that was because he was the killer,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, and like he was just like struggling with that, or that like the killer was like referencing stuff from his childhood, but apparently not. Yeah, and you know what? Actually, thinking about this as a series, a lot of stuff makes a lot more sense going in to like some stuff, especially like his relationship with like his ex-girlfriend throughout the rest of the movie. Like it makes a lot more sense knowing this is a part of a series. Yeah, because there's a part like halfway, like 2/3 of the way through the movie where like the ex-girlfriend is trying to like get back together with him, and I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? What has changed from the last time from when you dumped him?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, he clearly hasn't gotten his shit together yet. By the end of the movie, he sort of is implied to have, but yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but I would argue that's under duress.
But yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get into that later, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So yeah, he makes his way back home, and he finds our aforementioned mold sprayer, and we get to look around, and we're looking around his apartment. And let's be clear about this: we have no idea what's going on at this point because we haven't read the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like we're just like, who's this guy? Why is he like all suspicious? Why is he passed out drunk in a shed? he picks up some concert tickets for some guy named Oleg. And like, who's Oleg? Are you Oleg? Because they haven't even said his name yet. It's super. Which, yeah, they put a lot of effort into it. But like, so if you read the book, none of this makes sense. Like, this is just really weird for somebody who's read the book, I imagine. So yeah, he does that. He stares at a lady doing an art presentation who is revealed to be like his ex-girlfriend. I need to have it in front of me at all times. Raquel, played by Charlotte Gainsborough. Yeah, he's staring at her through a window, and he, yeah, I think he eventually gets talks to her and says he's got those tickets for Oleg, who is her son. I don't know that it's his son. I forget if that was implied or not.
I'm sorry, what?
Is Oleg Harry's son? I can't remember.
I've always made the assumption that he was throughout the film.
Or at least like he was like his stepdad for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Which, yeah, like at that point, it's like, yeah, there's a bit of a connection there. I guess I can find out. I can go to Harry Hole's Wikipedia page.
Huh.
Okay, yeah, it says it's his adopted son in the Wikipedia.
Okay, so he's not
Yeah.
the actual father to the kid.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
Fair enough.
They keep like if he is his mother never Raquel never says who like it never reveals in this movie who Oleg's real father is. It's not terribly relevant to the movie either. It's just how that worked out. So yeah, this is where we meet the mold spray. Yeah, we met the mold spray guy because yeah, apparently he's been living in a mold infested house for God knows how long. Which yeah, I'm sure that yeah, he has a lot of medical problems. I imagine this guy's gonna have some doctor visits later. Yeah, no, not improved to the fact that he goes through a lot more physical injuries throughout this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just went. I said I went straight Breaking Bad with it when they're like making meth in people's houses disguised as like exterminators. So
I just got to imagine this thing where just like he goes in after the end of the movie, he's taken a bullet wound and that other injury, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, come on, doc, patch me up." And they patch him up, and he's just like, "Okay, yeah, so we patched the bullet wound and your other injury. It also appears that you've like inhaled a bunch of mold particles. Also, you should probably cut back on your drifting and drinking, sir. I can. It's Norway, so I imagine we have a lot better access to addiction counselors or whatever. Yeah, so use that good Scandinavian healthcare. Yeah. Anyway,
I hate to
moving
break
on.
it to us, but like all Scandinavian countries are just like seem to be doing better than all of us at like basically everything. So
Yeah.
hats off to you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Norway.
We'll see how much longer that lasts. But
Fair
just
enough.
some of them are kind of not. I mean, there's a bit of racism up there, to be fair, which kind of makes you look at them a little differently. But yeah, moving
Mm-hmm.
on. We're not going to criticize the country of Norway in this episode. Yeah, we're taking a neutral stance on the state of Norway in this review. Neutral seems okay. I don't know if it's so great. Why did my grandpa move here? Like, this place sucks. I mean, how much more worse that you suck? If like we moved from Norway to here, is my
Yeah, but
question to all of Europe. Really,
that was how long ago?
100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, 1900s. Oh yeah, no, it's really improved. 1900s Norway was a piece of shit though, or like 1900 Norway, I guess. Moving on, he picks up some mail and he gets a sinister note with a drawing of the snowman from the beginning of the movie, and it's taunting him. Yeah, it's just a rip off. It just seems like a rip off of like I suppose it's Yeah, you can see a bit of it on the poster, one of the posters for the movie. Mr. Police, you could have saved her. I gave you all the clues. It's a longer note than that, but it's just one of those. It's very ripping off of like that Jack the Ricker note that's really famous.
Well, any note from serial
Oh
killers
yeah,
is
no, they
just
love to do
normally
this.
trash. If you've ever looked into like the Zodiac killings or any of his notes, I'm not gonna say sounds like a trash human being because clearly he's a trash human being, but like it's like self-engraving. The torso killer notoriously like dragged a body into one of the police constables, the main like case lead's house, and just dumped a body on his like front lawn step. So, but I think that that's a power move.
I mean, there's a reason we write so many books about these guys, and also like they all are. A bunch of them are just like really showboaty little
Mhm.
monsters. But yeah, yeah, that's the reason why there's like 10 million true crime podcasts. Like this is part of why.
Mhm.
There's actually not too much about this movie that's really implausible. I actually find it to be one of the better serial killer movies I've seen in terms of like realism.
Yeah,
Like minus the big epic conflict at the end.
oh god.
Yeah, that's not terribly realistic. But the rest of
Mhm.
it I find kind of. Obviously, like this guy's a good bit more supervillainy than whatever. But moving on. So yeah, he gets that nun thing. We see Harry pass out drunk again on a sidewalk. Some of the notes he gets from the Snowman killer are like taunting him for like falling out drunk too. Like this is a thing they reference, which is why we know this guy's been stalking him. We next cut to a lady who gets followed around while she's in her car. The guy, which we find out later is the killer. It's eventually revealed that this guy is going to follow this lady around. The lady eventually gets home late. The husband's all mad at her. And then after she goes to bed that night, the guy presumably the killer breaks into her house and kills her, kidnaps and kills her. And the next morning, the daughter is out walking around in her PJs looking for her mom, and that's how we get a missing persons case. We're also introduced to a new detective just new to the Oslo police force because this is the Oslo Police Department. Rebecca, Caitlin Brandt, Caitlin Bratt, played by Rebecca Ferguson. Actually, a Swedish actress. But yeah, they didn't get a bunch of. It doesn't seem like they got a bunch of Norwegian guys for this movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of Swedish actors. I don't know if they just. Yeah, that's just how that worked out. Not a lot of. Yeah, just seems like a lot of the main. I mean, Fassbender's British. Fassbender's Irish.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the smaller roles though. But yeah, the movie's also like in English. Everyone's speaking with British accents during the whole thing. You don't get like a Norwegian accent anywhere in this movie, other than like the faintness of like how like Swedish people that speak really good English have an accent. Yeah,
Mhm.
not like an accent, just like a little bit of stuff.
J.K. Simmons doing
Oh,
a
is
really
J.K.
bad.
Simmons Norwegian?
No, he's American, I do believe, but he just does a really bad Norwegian accent in this, in my opinion. So,
Oh,
is an American actor. Yeah.
Val Kilmer's also in this. Some people have like noted that he sounds a little weird in that. That's because we won't put him give him too much shit about that because he was apparently like recovering from cancer at this time, and it was like a mouth thing. So
Yeah, I didn't really like him in this, but I mean, I'll give him some slack. But also, he kind of aged really horribly
I forget what Val
from
Kilmer
like
looks
being.
like half the time.
Well, he's in Batman, right? So he's like
Yeah, he's one of the
the
Batman.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like in Batman Forever, I think is the one he's in.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't know anymore. In Val Kilmer's
Yeah.
Batman.
I forget. Oh, no, here he is. He's Rafto?
In Batman?
Oh, no, in this
Oh
movie.
no, in
Oh
the
yeah, he's
Snowman.
the
I'm
old
like,
direct he's the flashback detective. Right.
yeah, I'm
Okay, I
like
see
he's
now.
Batman in Batman.
No, yeah,
Like,
no, I know he's Batman and Batman.
okay,
I haven't seen that movie, but I know he's in it. I haven't actually seen a lot of the '90s Batman movies.
that's
I
okay.
haven't seen either Forever or Batman and Robin.
I
Just
still haven't
haven't.
sat down and watched the newest Batman with Patterson. So
Oh, it's pretty good.
yeah, I've heard good
Yeah.
things. I just
Oh yeah.
haven't had the uh inclination to sit down and actually watch all of it. So
Yeah. Yeah. The one bit of weirdness is they made the Penguin Italian.
yeah, but apparently the Penguin. But who the fuck played the Penguin in the newest?
Oh, I forget.
I'm thinking of the newest Riddler, which was played by um Dino something or other.
He's all right. But yeah, no, the
Hmm.
Penguin in this is like, yeah, no, Oswald Cobblepot speaks with like a thick, like like Italian gangster accent
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Yeah, Oswald Cobblepot. Although they don't call him that in the movie, I just call him the Penguin. But anyway, moving on.
Hmm.
Yeah, we got like an hour to wrap this up. So yeah, moving on. So yeah, he's talking with the new detective, who is getting this missing persons case. Oh, it's also been noticed that Harry Hole has been on a week-long bender and hasn't been to work for a week. So yeah, he gets a ride with Catherine, as she's like going on this missing person case, so he can get a ride somewhere else because he doesn't have a driver's license. Shock of all shocks. I really probably shouldn't be making fun of him for being such a drunk, but it's kind of hard. Like it's just he's such a it's
Yeah,
kind
the
of it's
character
pretty cliche.
kind of writes himself.
Yeah, no, it honestly starting to feel mean.
Fair enough.
'Cause, yeah, no, maybe that's just the mood I'm in, but he's just like really has a problem. Yeah, so yeah, they do that, and they're interviewing the neighbor because the father had left on a business trip right as like this happened, and that turns out to be true. Like that, like the father is not the father has a airtight alibi. So yeah, it's not him. Which is what Harry for initially suggests. But he's actually weirdly resistant to the idea that this is a serial killer, despite the fact that he's getting threatening letters from him the entire movie. Yeah, him and I mean, it does go a bit both ways, but that's probably just because Harry just does not cooperate with Catherine throughout any part of the movie. These people are always going off on their own. Harry's wandering around. He sees the scary snowman put in the front yard because that's the calling card this guy has. That's a great calling card. I'm sure that doesn't take like 20 minutes. So yeah, he talks to the girl for a little bit, and yeah, just doesn't find anything. The girl's wearing like a donkey mask. Yeah, for whatever reason, this scene. Sorry, I had to yawn. Um,
I wonder if that's like a thing in Norway where like we here in Canada we're seeing the trend of the horse mask going around, and maybe Norway just hasn't caught on to the horse mask craze yet, and they're like
it's
donkey
not as
masks.
disturbing as the horse mask. I'll get to that.
I think in this context it kind of works a little bit more
True,
disturbing than the horse mask, but yeah,
but
generally
like,
speaking, horse masks.
yeah, in the general, that horse mask is really disturbing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, we get our flashback to 9 years ago in Bergen, Norway, where we're introduced to the suspended detective played by Val Kilmer. The guy's name is Rafto. He's doing a whole. He's getting a request from this rich guy to go look for his wife who's been missing, despite the fact that he's been suspended because he's been taking stuff from crime scenes. Yeah, he's very much paralleling to Harry Hole because he's also very. He's one of those. He's what I mean. This is a propaganda thing, but he's like, yeah, like if this guy was like a real person, like yeah, no, you'd absolutely suspend him, and there's no way he'd be this good as detective. Like that's
Yeah,
I haven't.
it,
Yeah,
it's weird how heavily people try and like uh implicate like the drunk struggling genius like detective uh uh cliche within in television and films and stuff like that. I don't think it really works here because it's not like we've ever seen like this real like master stroke of brilliance from either character throughout the movie. So it's just kind of like maybe they're trying to lead into like the hardened like cop veteran type like figurehead rather than like this tortured genius smart person who uses alcohol as a clutch to be able to function and do their job properly, but like it doesn't work here in my opinion.
yeah, and also like maybe it's just the cop again, like a being like an anti-cop bias, but like if he had these issues, he wouldn't be a good detective. Like that, just be
Oh
like,
yeah,
no,
definitely
this would, yeah, this would
100%.
very much. I feel like we've done a lot of like people have done a lot of research on like the propaganda around like Dirty Harry. I don't feel like we've done a lot of like think pieces on the propaganda around like these characters where they're just like, oh yeah, this character's like a massive alcoholic who's doing a lot of problems, but he's still a good cop. And realistically, like, no.
Mhm. I also feel like maybe a sober Harry would have solved this a whole lot faster.
It's how possible.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Sober Harry might also not have been targeted by the killer. Just gonna
Yeah,
say that
yeah, fair enough.
right there. Yeah, that seems like we'll get into this, but that kind of ties into the motivation of the serial killer is that the fact that like is revolve like a part of the motivation and why like the killer is like harassing or like interacting with Harry so much is because he's such like a bad alcoholic and bad dad and whatnot. Like if he had been like a great stepdad to Oleg or something, he probably wouldn't be in this situation.
Hmm.
But I mean, if that were the case, then we wouldn't have a movie. And the guy and
Yeah,
the killer presumably would have found some other alcoholic detective who beats his wife, which
it it kind of stems back to like the old like if we really wanted to trace back the origins of the like even Sherlock Holmes was like a notorious like opium smoker in the novels, but I don't think like it ever went f- that far per se where he's like smacked out of his mind sitting there like trying to piece together a crime scene or something. So
yeah, like I mean, best you can give him is like that kind of yeah, like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance maybe like implies that a little bit, but that's all I got.
mhm.
I don't think they ever show it on screen.
I think what's his face? Uh the other one. Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch was did a scene where he was doing he took a case on his bachelor party essentially, and he's like super wasted sitting there trying to like solve a crime scene. I think that's was very funny and would probably be
It
way
doesn't
more.
help that like In the world without the drug war, we probably get a lot more of those performances. But I mean, you
Mhm.
can't really have like a cop movie filmed in the 1980s with like the main character being like a drug addict, and
Yeah,
like
fair
being like
enough.
an unrepentant drug addict. That probably wouldn't fly. So yeah, we get the flashback with Val Kilmer. He's getting hired to look for this woman. They eventually find the woman dead. On apparently a bunch of school children find her chopped up on the side of a mountain, and he shoots a gun to scare away the birds that are doing, and it's like a really like intense seeming scene.
Yeah, but did anybody ever stop this fucker at this point in time?
No, no, they just let him wander onto the
It's like
crime scene.
he's suspended. They didn't take his gun away, or did he? I think he might have taken it off of somebody else as he's walking up to the lift or something. But I might have misremembered
That's
that.
where
But
he
like,
just has his own gun.
yeah, so he's just walking around armed, probably shit faced at a crime scene, and it's like, let's just shoot guns, drunk in the middle of the
I,
day
I,
in
I
Norway.
guess he seemed sort of sober when he was there. Like he didn't seem like he was. He seems soberer than Harry Hole looks the whole movie. To be fair, in this scene,
Okay,
maybe
maybe
that's
it's
just the difference.
just the difference between how bad Val Kilmer looks in these like in this film that I'm just assuming that he's drunk. Also, I didn't realize that the detective that was also on the scene here, I can't remember his name for the life of me, or the actor who plays him, but the character I'm talking about, you'll know his face because he has a really weird face shape. And
I think it's Svensson.
okay, regardless,
Yeah, Detective Svensson, played by Toby Jones.
okay. No offense to Toby Jones, because I actually really like him, because turns out he voiced Dobby the house elf in Harry Potter. But like nobody like called his superiors, or like was like, hey, can we get this drunk guy waving a gun like away from the crime scene with children? And like,
I mean, he can't traumatize the children any worse.
I mean, yeah, technically, but like,
Also, the children were being siphoned away at that point. Like you
yeah.
see, like him taking the ski lift because they find the woman on the side of a mountain, and there he's taking a ski lift up, and you see the children taking the ski lift down.
But you also see another cop in the same fucking whatchamacallit, and he takes his walkie-talkie, and they're sitting there having a conversation on like over the walkie-talkie, and he's like, he's going to the case. He's suspended, and he's probably loaded right now. And nobody's like, yeah, let's just get him the fuck out of here.
No, they just kind
So
of let him do whatever he wants.
maybe he's
But yeah,
just that
anyway,
good. I'm gonna shut up for a while so that you can do
no.
plot here.
Oh, I mean, this might take a while, but I'm trying my best because it's a mystery movie. Because there's a lot of plot points, and I'm trying to compress it
Yeah.
best I can. So yeah, that's that. There's no avalanche. They're not taking that angle. Though I guess it's a ski hill. They're kind of designed not to have avalanches. But
I
anyway,
don't
moving
know
on.
if that's
Yeah, so the next scene we see Harry. He's at one of Oleg's hockey games, and his ex girlfriend is just kind of like it's actually straight. Like I'm confident of this earlier, but she's like really like leaning into Harry and cuddling on him through this entire scene, which is really weird when like her boyfriend shows up and it's just like, yeah, no, here, whatever. And he's just like, oh, dude, I can, I'm like a doctor, like a facelift guy. I can give you sleeping pills. And I'm like, are you trying to kill this guy? Because I mean, honestly, good on you. But
that would be a little less dramatic if he's like, I'm gonna murder this guy over the course of 20 years, rather than okay,
yeah,
maybe cut
I
that
mean,
out.
that would have been the
Yeah,
easier way to do it.
before we like reveal too many plot lines here, but yeah, like just
Yeah.
the
Oh,
real
I suppose
killer
I've
here
I
is
suppose I've spoiled it, haven't I?
yeah,
Yeah, no,
opium addiction.
yeah, no, yeah, no, Harry's ex's current boyfriend is the Snowman killer.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the
I
like
mean,
that. Yeah, that would have
it
been a
was
way to
bound
do
to
it.
happen eventually.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no.
I'm just like, I pretty much walked into this like, I'm not gonna call it like this podcast, like expecting one of us to slip up and reveal a killer long before the podcast episode was over, or when it was revealed in the plot. So, I mean, good on you.
Yeah, so lesson of the day: don't take pills from your like ex's boyfriend, especially not if he's a serial killer. I guess is the moral of the story. Although
I
the
don't
pills are
think that
fine. No, if
that's
anything, the pills helped.
necessarily like a good standing message. I'm pretty sure just don't take pills from your ex's lover in general. Unless he's a drug dealer, and then I mean, I guess there's probably like a transactional uh response there.
I feel like that's a word. Never mind.
I feel like
Yeah,
that you could definitely do that as like a buddy comedy going on right now, where uh a rich
uh,
guy gets left for a drug dealer, vice versa. It'd be kind of interesting, but anyways,
yeah. So
we have
anyway,
we have like
after
24
yeah,
minutes.
50 minutes. 50 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
No, so yeah, after our hero takes sleeping pills from a serial killer unknowingly, he takes Oleg, who is his ex's son, who he has like a lot of like fatherly stuff for.
Sure.
Uh yeah, whatever. He's an adopted. Yeah, it's eventually going to be his adopted son, I suppose. I guess they get back together later in the series. Yeah, so Oleg, he takes Oleg out for to go to a concert and to get some ice cream, which is why he's at the hockey. I mean, that's part of why he's at the hockey game too. It turns out to be like a really kind of a lame sounding punk concert, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's
I don't
like
know.
Norwegian rock or something. Is just weird.
Yeah, I think they got good music in Norway. I think they got a good bit of heavy metal anyway. Get some death metal in there. Maybe that's more of a Swedish thing. I don't know. So as while they're at the concert, he gets a Harry gets a phone call from Katrin saying it's urgent and that he's been specifically requested to deal with a missing persons case. And so he has to go and head off immediately to go deal with this missing persons case because Katrin feels it's going to be related to this other missing persons case. So they go to this lady that is missing, her rural cabin outside somewhere out of Oslo or whatever, outside of Oslo or whatever. And we see a lady butchering a chicken. And good news, this is the lady they're looking for. This is the lady who has the missing persons case. So yeah, that I mean, successful. Movie's over. We've saved everyone. Yeah, so yeah, that's good it's a good way to solve this. Yeah, good. We've saved the plot. We can all go home. No one got hurt. Nobody died. Everything turned out all right. Yeah, so that's the end of the movie. We can all go home. Podcast over. But no, seriously, they're like, oh yeah, that's weird. We got this crank call from this lady's husband. I guess it called it in. So they go to leave. We get a scene where she calls her husband, who's apparently an ex-husband, and points, and they have and she's talking about, why did you tell the police I was missing? stop being such a weirdo. And they're having like clearly like having some sort of argument, and and as they're having this argument, after she hangs up the phone, the Snowman killer arrives and kills her, and then they get a second missing persons call immediately after, and have to go haul ass back there. Turns out the second missing persons call is from her twin sister, um, which is just now occurring to me. I should see if that's. I should see if there's two of that same actor in here. I'm not seeing any indication that those are separate actors, which makes sense because they never share screen time. Yeah, so this woman, this actor playing the victim's twin, gets called in, and they're like, "Oh shit!" They were like clearly just waiting for us to leave and like making a fool out of us. So they call in the whole thing to go searching for him, and eventually do find the body of this woman. So yeah, that was a pretty bad incident. Yeah, so that was the thing. We cut to some more instances of some more problems of like we cut to this random guy, which seems random at first. I think is random actually through the entire thing, of this character played by J.K. Simmons, who is trying to bring the Olympics to Oslo. I might be
I'm
like a
sorry,
Winter Cup thing.
what in the fuck is Oslo?
It's the
I
capital
want to
of
sound
Norway.
like okay. I was assuming so, but like I also thought it was a company there for a second. It was kind of weird. So
Nope,
like
capital
maybe it
city
was
of Norway is Oslo.
oh, have we had a Norway like maybe a Winter Games? But
I looked this up. The Norway had the Olympics in 1952.
okay, that's a weird indicator of the movie. But yeah, go on. I guess go off.
Well, that was I think they were trying to get it to return to there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
fair enough.
they say it. I don't think they call it the Olympics, but I don't see why they couldn't call it the Olympics. They're calling it like the Winter Games. They also call it, I think, interchangeably like the World Cup. So it seems like maybe they were trying to get the World Cup to Norway, which is also a thing. Though I actually know it couldn't be the World Cup because they say like they're competing with Beijing for it. So no, they're trying to get like fake the not Olympics to Oslo.
I mean, if there's any like indicator of like World Cup series, like if we're trying to display a supervillain, honestly, the leader of FIFA, probably fairly decent to depict him as a very bad guy. So
Anyway, so yeah, we're introducing this guy, which I'm not sure it's ever relevant. Like actually,
no,
it's just sort of like a plot point they have sideways.
yeah, this is something that I was going to bring up with you because I kind of to try and save a little bit of time, I missed a very good portion of this plot point, and I still haven't really fully pieced it together on how this guy was indicated into the whole entire murder plot.
What
So,
happens is it turned okay. So the lady who was murdered in the flashback with Val Kilmer, that's the wife of a guy. Okay, so there were three guys. The guy who okay, so let me start over. The guy who hires Val Kilmer in the flashback is the is the wife of the Snowman killer's first like serial killer victim. The guy
mhm.
who she was apparently having an affair with this guy played by J.K. Simmons, who was a business
Okay,
partner of her husband.
who I'm assuming was thought to have silenced the woman, essentially. And that's why the daughter's going after him.
Well, no,
Got it.
they figured that that J.K. Simmons was behind the murders because
Mhm.
yeah, they'd cleared her husband in that. And yeah, they figure like there's Catherine is basically convinced later in the movie that JK, the guy played by J.K. Simmons plays, is responsible for the murders because he was present at because he was in Bergen where those original two murders takes place, and now he's present at Oslo where these newer murders are taking place, and also like has access to various medical records or whatever,
Mhm.
conceivably, for reasons we'll get into later, but yeah, but it's just sort of like he's just a guy that's like attached to this, and they're just kind of like loosely guessing it's him, which turns out, yeah, again, it's the boyfriend, Harry's ex. So yeah, it's some whole weird thing. But yeah, that's what's going on there. So yeah, we're introduced to him a little bit. Oh yeah, it's also while they did the killing thing, it was revealed that they're doing like a razor wire saw to cut the people up, which I assume is a real tool for something. No, it's one of those tools that's like very clearly something someone could assume is a murder weapon. So yeah, after this killing, the they talk to the police chief and they're able to like get a team together to deal with this because they're pretty sure there's because now they're really sure there's a serial killer going on. And they just want they're like, okay, we need a team, and they're told like, okay, keep this quiet until you get somebody so that we don't like screw over like our uh, bid to get the Olympics or whatever. So yeah, they got the full support of the police department, which is different, honestly. It's interesting to see them get all this support. It's usually something they take away in most movies, but I think they're willing to like give this guy the credit of being like, okay, he's good enough that like he can evade the police properly. So yeah, that's some stuff going around. This is where like in between this, after this is where we get the scene with where the serial killer pretends to be the mold sprayer. So they eventually find a commonality between the more recent victims. Turns out they were going to the same women's clinic or women's health clinic. So they're going to go talk to him, the doctor there. So they go to talk to him. Obviously, there's a bunch of doctor-patient confidentiality stuff. It's not even like confirmed that they are the same. They're run by the same doctor. So yeah, they're accusing him of some stuff. Catherine tries to like ask him a bunch of questions about J.K. Simmons' character, who I should actually say his name, Arv Stop.
Mhm.
Yep, Step. Yeah. Sorry, it's I don't know. It's spelt stop, but with like a line through the O
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
because that's I think it's pronounced step. It's like a long, gross sounding O, like a step, like a strope. It's like the Oleg, so stope. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I don't. It's like the strange European guys want to use different letters and pretend they're the same letter. It's not as bad as that German giant big cursive B they have that's somehow an F. But yeah, anyway, moving on.
Mm.
So yeah, they talk to the guy and have to leave. Yeah, and it's also revealed like they had Catherine had been like following Stoke around, and Stoke had apparently like we know this after meeting this guy a little bit later, but he had met with the guy from the women's clinic, and the guy from the women's clinic had shown him a lady who looked very like scared, and like showed her exposed like the upper part of her torso, um like take a part of her dress off, and that would have been a thing. So it's between this bit of evidence, it's clear that this guy in charge of a women's health clinic is a pimp and is using his access to this women's health clinic to supply girls to people. So yeah, that's yeah, and he's getting a bunch of random donations from Stope, Stope, Step, whatever. And he's getting a bunch of donations from him to allegedly research like premature birthing stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, and also this would explain some other things because uh it's revealed it's revealed that through some other stuff that the rural victim who they had they had talked to, she had had an abortion, and the earlier woman who is still missing, she had been going there to get some fertility options, and it was revealed while they were there. It was eventually revealed while they were there that that her husband was infertile and had always been, so that that meant that his daughter wasn't his. And this is going to be revealed a little bit later when Harry is talking to the husband. So yeah, that's the thing. Harry finds out about Catrin getting that like sneaking around and snooping on Stope because he goes and rats through her stuff, right? And like gets a bunch of her information without telling her. So he decides to do the next phase of his investigation on his own, and he goes to Bergen to go talk to the guy who had hired Val Kilmer in the flashbacks. So he talks to him for a little bit. And through all this, he gets a couple bits of information. Also, he ends up talking to the I'm not going to mention that. So he gets a couple bits of information from this. Val Kilmer's character had apparently died of a suicide, or like sometime after the flashback. They find some images of him, like with his head blown off, and notably, like some coffee beans on the floor, which indicates to Harry that they had put like some snowman stuff in there because that's what all the snowmen had been decorated with. Yeah, they give us the bit about Stope and this guy being business partners. So yeah, that's the whole thing. And it's revealed in a flashback that like this definitely wasn't what Harry's now suspecting, is that this definitely wasn't a suicide, and that Val Kilmer had been murdered by a guy, and the snowman killer had put a snowman head with a coffee bean smile and eyes on top of the because it's a headless corpse at that point. Yeah, it's also mentioned that they figure it's a suicide because all the doors were locked, and also the guy had, as we've established, problems. So
Yeah, I didn't really care for a lot of the pictures of people with faces blown off by a shotgun throughout this film. So more than once.
So yeah, Hole goes to investigate the cabin where the Val Kilmer's character had died, and he eventually, while he's doing this, discovers that Catrin is Val Kilmer's daughter, and that's why she's so invested in all this. So that's a thing. And in the meantime, this is happening in tandem with this as part of the movie. Catrin goes to they find out that the woman who's still missing, her phone is suddenly brought back online, so they're able to track it. But Catrin goes alone and doesn't tell anybody, which will eventually get her suspended because why don't you tell everyone else? So they find the phone's become active again in the women's health clinic. So she goes there. She's looking around for the phone. They'll eventually find it attached to a deep freeze with a bunch of body parts in it, indicating that several more people have been killed that they didn't know about. And she eventually finds that the doctor in charge of the women's health clinic has been met with a eerily similar fate to her father. And by eerily similar, I mean identical. And the chief of police is going to write that off as a suicide. But she has been suspended, and Hole finds this out from just being told that. Yeah, and yeah, that's always the good point when the police commissioner gives a smug, oh, well, it's case closed,
Mm-hmm.
which is how you know this is going to go badly. So Catherine and Harry goes to find Catherine at her home, and they have a thing where they get into a scuffle, and Harry ends up on top of her, and he stays there for way too long, and they get each other on the same page about what happened. And it's also pointed out that like Harry definitely fits the profile that her dad fit in, because her dad was like they were born out of like an affair, or she was born out of an affair. In the meantime, Oleg ran away, and Harry's ex goes to beat with him at his apartment, where they get all well, she gets all sensual with him. He's just seems sort of uninterested, which again, I like. Man, maybe this is done better in the books, but like, girl, you're too good for him. I'm gonna say that. Seems like she can do better. I mean, it's not your fault that the doctor you're currently dating is a serial killer. You'd find a real doctor.
I mean, technically he's a real doctor, but
Yeah, no, I realized that the second I said it.
and I mean,
You can find another doctor.
There's worse doctors out there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, most of them are like, I mean, at this point, like I think most of them are like weird 50s Nazis and or neo-Nazis. But yeah, he's probably up there with one of the worst. This is about the worst case scenario.
Angels of Death. Have you looked into those?
Yeah, no, I guess that's slightly worse. I don't know.
I mean, this guy's a little bit stupider than it, I guess, like, because a lot of the Angels of Death are like, well, we're just gonna hide bodies into medical cases rather than like straight up murdering people. We're gonna like subtly get away with it, but like, I guess I don't exactly know what type of doctor this guy is, and it might be a lot harder to like get away with stuff like that. So
He's a plastic surgeon.
yeah, definitely a lot harder. Like unless you're going for a straight malpractice, there's no real good way to justify why somebody like died during a facelift or like a body tuck, unless I'm completely misinterpreting how badly or how medically important the job of plastic surgeon is. It's like,
I think they have to have like admittance, but yeah. Anyway, moving on.
yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, eventually they find Oleg. He's just at a friend's house, and he didn't tell anybody because he's mad because when Harry had went to Bergen, he had accidentally skipped out on this father-son camping trip that he was supposed to go on with Oleg, and our friend the serial killer had like bailed him out, weirdly enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'd like taken the blame for doing that. No,
Yeah, I
it's
don't
super.
overly understand this like relationship that these two people are supposed to have at this point in time, and I don't know if it's ever like fully like revealed why he's like. In all fairness, he just seems like a good guy throughout the movie, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we need a killer. So to wrap this up, bam,
I wouldn't go that
best friend.
far. I mean, but he is like, I mean, maybe he's just doing it because that makes it because he's going to kill all these people later. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily make
Yeah,
the most sense, but I think you could swing it.
I'll get into this a little bit more later when we've got a little bit more time before the try and get plot done.
So yeah, Catherine, while this is happening, goes to sneak into the big announcement party where J.K. Simmons is going to announce that, or is going to like observe whether or not Oslo's getting the Olympics. So she gets a nice dress on and does the thing where like she pretends to be into the villain, the J.K. Simmons, and she gets his room key, and she's gonna go wait for him to go interrogate him or get a confession or kill him, whatever. Either way, it turns out that the killer saw through this bit because J.K. Simmons isn't the killer, and he goes to ambush her in this guy's hotel room and cuts off her fingers so that he can get access to her. They have this big recording device they keep with them the entire time, and he deletes almost all the data from it except for one thing. The only thing he leaves is remaining interview with first the woman from the beginning's husband, and has a bit of her interview left, which will eventually spur Harry on to figuring out what to do. So, yeah, she gets killed and left in it's sick, injected with some poison, and has her. Yeah, no, she's dead. Yeah, they kill Captain. Yeah, so after that, Harry picks up that he needs to talk to that husband again. He picks up the last bit of information and goes to go confront the ex at his childhood home, which I forget how he figures that out. But it turns out that the real common thread between all the victims, or the modern victims, is that they are like all going to like our villain for like gene therapy or whatever. The character's name is Matthias, by the way. That's the guy's real name. I just yeah, I just haven't had a lot of conversation points to talk about him other than calling him the killer. So yeah, they go do that. He finds him at the childhood home. Oh, and the beginning stuff, the stuff about the beginning. His first serial kill was the wife, was the guy that J.K. Simmons had an affair with, and that had gotten him on board with Catherine's dad, who I think had botched the investigation into his mother's death. So that's why he killed him. Also because presumably Catherine's dad had gotten too close.
Oh, it is Matthias. I was calling him Martinez this whole time, and I don't like even know why.
Yeah, no, that's weird. Anyway, so yeah, they go back to the house at the beginning. He goes search through the building, and somehow Harry goes upstairs with his gun, and no backup for whatever reason. He goes up there, and in the time that he goes back downstairs, and apparently Matthias has magically brought his wife, his had brought what's I should say her actual name. I'm tired of calling her the ex. Raquel. No, I've said her name a couple times before. He gets Raquel and Oleg. They're both tied up because they're both missing. They both went missing in the last in like a 5-minute period, and he's gotten them both tied up to a chair, and he's got Raquel's neck bound in the razor wire puller thing, and he's just like, okay, give me the gun. They go through that whole thing where he sits down, and Matthias is just like, oh, well, I'm killing women because they're doing something so cruel to have bear children and them not knowing who their father is. Which, of course, he has a bit of. They have a bit of a thing, and it's like, "Oh, you're a bit of a piece of shit, Harry." And Harry's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm selfish and whatnot. I'm being bad. I'm not doing this for the right reasons or whatever." And he has that whole thing, and he's just like, I mean, how cruel is it that this woman Raquel is like had a child and she doesn't know who the father is or won't tell who the father is, and he's just like, don't you think she deserves to die? And he's just like, I don't think that's my call to make. Why isn't that his call to make? Why is it your call to make, Mr. Serial Killer? Which is the whole problem with a lot of these serial killers, is they come up with their own logic or whatever. Also, they kill people. I mean, but they come up with a logic to it. And so yeah, that gets him a moment, and Harry is able to get into a struggle. He manages to break open the razor wire cutter and gets him out of the way. He loses a finger in the process and gets into a struggle. Eventually, Matthias manages to get away and runs away. Harry takes a moment to undo some of the binds on Oleg and Raquel, and Raquel says to go kill him. So he goes out to go. So Harry goes out to confront Matthias on the frozen lake because, of course, and of course he's just like, "Come on, face me, Matthias. Let's go have a fight." And then Matthias shoots him from off screen. So he gets shot. He's bleeding on the ice from now multiple wounds, and Harry's just like, you're hating the women, but really it was your dad who was the bastard, which is hard to argue with. And frankly, I mean, that's a flaw with a lot of serial killers. They're just like, by and large, for the most part, a bunch of like heavily deludedly misogynistic bunch.
Sorry,
In
repeat
my
that.
research, yeah, they like serial killers are by and large a very misogynistic bunch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
They do seem to
know
blame women for all their problems.
how to better support that. Like, state that. Yeah, I mean, I guess when you start just seeing people as victims, basically, it's gonna go one way or another. And I mean, I think there's a lot of indication of it, attraction to who you're going to kill.
Yeah, that happens. And I think there's a lot of like, I mean, where neither of us are. This isn't the true crime
Serial killers.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a true crime podcast. But yeah, a lot of, I mean, yeah, it's by and large seems like the most common form of, I guess there's generally they're going after some form of marginalized people, and I guess women are the most common uh, demographic of marginalized people. So a lot of most serial killers go after women. Just how that works, I guess.
Also,
Um,
don't know if there was any form of uh sexual assault within the killings.
no,
So it wasn't. I don't know if there was a sexualized component of it, but there was definitely a misogyny component of it rather than a sexualized. So, uh,
yeah, no implication of sexual assault, really.
mhm.
At least not from him. Yeah, that's a thing. So they have that speech, and then Matthias just falls through the ice. Yeah, that's it. He just kind of like randomly falls through the ice.
I mean, if
Boop,
he
he's
fell
dead.
through the ice like 20 years ago, then we wouldn't be watching this
Yeah,
movie or talking about
which
this
he
movie in all
almost did.
actuality. But
Like he was standing right next to his mother. Yeah,
which is kind of funny because like there was a whole like shit ton
yeah.
more stuff on the ice back then in the movie rather than in this part where there's just two guys standing on ice in the middle of winter. You'd think the ice would hold in the middle of winter
Maybe
Norway,
it's
but I don't know.
later, like very late or early summer. I don't know though. Seems like hockey season's still going though, so that would imply still winter.
Yeah, but this is also
Yeah.
also Norway, so I mean,
No. But like, we've seen lakes like this. This place is clearly frozen ice. There's no way he's just one guy wandering around. It's like, thank God we've had like the world's thinnest ice sheet in Norway. And they just had to have this final confrontation on this really thin ice sheet.
Okay, this is what pisses me off because we're more close to the end of the plot line at this point in time, where we pretty much summed up the whole entire plot. The whole entire final confrontation should not have happened at all. This is basically what happened in the movie. Fucking Harry like goes to save his wife like a basic good fucking human being, and legitimately at that point in time he's hugging his wife, and the wife goes, "Go get him, Harry." And then he chases after her, like after the killer, instead of just like being a responsible adult and like waiting for police to arrive or any form of like backup. He's just like, yeah, we're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go have this confrontation. He could have just stayed there with his wife. The guy would have been apprehended shortly afterwards or died
yeah. Oh
walking
yeah,
on the
no, he
ice
can't
like
hide
a fucking
anywhere.
idiot. But yeah, exactly. As soon
Yeah.
as they figure out what happened here, they would have like locked this guy up for good, essentially. So
Oh, but
it's
yeah,
just like,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely a big pain in the ass manhunt is going to happen, but yeah, you could have just went that route. So yeah, after that we get like a 3-second scene where uh Harry is like tapping his finger against his coffee cup, his new artificial finger against the coffee cup. And it's just like they're talking about a new case, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'll take the case." And that's the end of the movie.
sure.
They could have put more work into that. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's definitely not a great ending, but I think they're also trying to low key bait for a sequel there. And
Maybe.
I don't know. I just feel like it didn't kind of work out.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And also, like they're
Yeah.
pointing at the tail end of like the series in itself, considering there's like 6 books before this, so we kind of met this character halfway through his like historical career or whatever as a fucking detective at this point. So
I fully get that this is probably one of the best ones, but
mhm.
yeah,
well,
and I mean,
well, even
okay,
at
yeah,
this
the ending is, yeah. Go ahead.
the start of the movie, they're sitting there talking about Harry Hole, and the police lady walks up to him and is like, "We study your cases at the academy," or something stupid like that. And it's like, well, cool. Can you like lead with that a little bit more, or like, like is that the whole purpose? And then it is never alluded to or anything. So
Yeah, no, and also that ending is just like a massive misstep. Like, I mean, okay, it's like, I like the twist. Like, I bought the explanation. It seemed like a good bit of twists and turns like that. I don't like how the villain just randomly falls through the ice.
no. I mean, my ending would be just as anticlimactic as uh, this ending, but like my ending actually has him like facing some level of like consequences for his action.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe have Catherine live and have her like recover from her hypothermia or whatever, and then like she can hunt them down.
Yeah, I don't know how to make this like a half decent
Yeah,
ending at this point in time because like I'm
or
not
even just
really.
have Harry contribute to him falling through the ice. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, what do you give the movie, Cody? We have like 4 minutes left to record.
I don't hate it. That's the worst part.
No, no, me
I
neither.
like the movie in itself. Like, also really like the girl with the dragon tattoo that kind of had the same feel to it as that.
Yeah, I think they share
So
some DNA,
yeah, definitely.
like some cultural DNA.
I'd I'd say probably about like 6 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair spot to be in.
Uh, I'm I'm gonna be this is gonna be my odd review where I'm lower. I'm giving a movie lower than Cody. I'm gonna be more of a 5, maybe even a 4.
Yeah, I could see why you would say that. Ultimately,
Yeah,
like
no, I can see your point though too.
for crime novels, as crime stories go, right? So I haven't read a good mystery novel in a while, and maybe I was feeling a little generous.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get that.
I'm not gonna try and lead in with like a justification or anything because we've got 3 minutes left to record this at this point in time, and yeah, because podcast hosting has become stupid. So
Yeah, no. So yeah, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. All your favorite holidays. We're gonna try to get this up before just before Christmas. Yeah. So that's it. We'll see you in January with something hockey related. We'll do some hockey movie. I can tell you that much.
fair enough.
Maybe curling if I have a lot of trouble finding what I'm looking for.
Oh God,
All right.
feel like we haven't had a good curling movie.
I mean, we'll find out. Anyway, bye.